Good day, Aussie Bonsai Bloke here, go. Yeah, I thought I'd just show you the field grown trees out the back of my house. The irrigation setup for it. Got me veggies there. Yeah, so out the back here, on this stock sort of plant area, I have 4 of these wobble sprinklers and they seem to work fairly well. They have to overlap a little bit, otherwise if you have plants underneath a single one they sort of dry out a bit, but this one over here overlaps and seems to work pretty well. That comes on for 10 minutes a day, I think. In the middle of summer it'll probably maybe twice a day. And that one's on an automatic tap timer. This one here is just on a manual tap, and because it's in the ground I only have to come on probably twice a week in the middle of summer. They're just drippers, dripping on the plants, and as you can see it crisscrosses around everywhere here. Every plant's got a couple of drippers on it. So yeah, that's that. That's just on a normal tap. I'll show you the fitting. So yeah, so that's just the manual tap one there, and then I have the automatic one here which I can set to come on. A fair few different programs you can put into it. Also I had a request to show a few more of my stock plants and bigger plants, so that's, I'm not sure what that is. It's some sort of a, I think either some sort of a juniper or it could even be a melaleuca. I just dug it up from the neighbours, but I got no idea what it is. Red gum there. Bougainvillea got bit by the frost a few times, so she's struggling along. There's some little shoots coming out here, but struggling. This one's a Maria, or orange jessamine. A couple of massive olive stumps in here. I collected them a year ago and they seem to be growing pretty strong, as you can see. Just collected, flat cut the bottom with a chainsaw. Another one here. Peppercorn tree here, which is struggling over winter. They always seem to, but they always grow back. Another olive here. Hawthorn olive. This is a rose oak or some sort of a she oak or something. I cut the top off. As you can see, this is the top here. I'm hoping that it'll back bud down here somewhere. Another olive here. This one was a bit slow to shoot, but it seems to be going alright now. Another olive I dug up here. This one here I'm pretty sure is a coastal daisy bush. It's got nice bark and stuff on it. This back one here I'll be taking out, and I'll just have this front one here become the bonsai in the future. This is a Japanese red pine. I've always had it in a pot, probably only 4 years I think. This is a recently collected peach tree, this last winter. Another olive here. This one here's got very little growth on it, but it could be interesting later on. Yeah, another olive here, plenty of olives. So yeah, a golden rain tree I think. There's an olive that I carved out on one of my videos. What have we got here? This is the bottle brush. It's got a nice base to it, but it's going to be a challenge to sort out the top. Bottle brush that I collected. Another olive, a few more olives. Just sort of a lot of stock plants here. Some sort of a prunus, plum or something. Some lily pillies over here. Some lemon trees. They had a lot of citrus leaf minor in them this last year, so the leaves are pretty deformed. Here we got swamp cypress, something like that. There's the dogs checking out me carving work on the ash. This is some sort of a hedge plant, this one. This is another ash tree. I'll have to do a bit more carving to that one later on. I grew that one in the ground myself. Only took a few years. Yeah, this is this hedge plant. It's shot out a lot of shoots, so it's going alright. I'll just take you over to the Bonsai Stands. So here is where I keep all the bonsais here. It's quite sheltered here. Frost don't get too bad, and also the wind, it's not too bad. Got the apple tree I worked on. Most of them are still dormant at the moment. The apple tree is still dormant. You can probably see a bud here is just starting to swell up. This is a mulberry. It's a wisteria that I collected as a cutting. Another mulberry. Mulberry I did some work on a while back. Just an azalea in a pot, but I'm just going to let it get fat. Maybe I can't plant that one in the ground here because it's too alkaline, so I have to put in a pot, big pot. Maybe 5 years later I might have something there. This is a prunus that I dug out the ground in one of my other videos. As you can see, it's shooting well. The Turkish oak I had in another video, just starting to shoot out now. The Crape Myrtle, just budding out. Juniper I did some work on. Crape Myrtle. There's a box behind there in a tiny little pot. Another Japanese box there, I think that's what they are. This one's a silver birch. It's got nice bark on it and a reasonable root system under there. This is the pot that I smashed when I did the repotting of the ash, and I smashed the pot off. This is how much this one's grown already. As you can see, it's looking very healthy. Looking pretty good. I fertilise probably every 7 to 10 days with a bit of Thrive. Some sort of citrus there. Here's another one of my junipers here. A bit hard to see in this light, but that one I've been developing for a few years. Another silver birch here. An olive there and an old pot. Crape Myrtle. This one here is a little Chinese elm. Crape Myrtle behind it. Here's the bigger Chinese elm that I did some work on. As you can see, it's just starting to shoot out now. This is my Hawthorn. Same thing, it's just starting to swell. You might be able to see some shoots just starting to come out of it. It's an exciting time in spring. I love watching them shoot out. It's probably one of the best times of the year, watching them come back to life after having a big sleep. Another Chinese elm pomegranate that I collected in one of my previous videos out in my backyard. So the Chinese elm, I'm going to let it shoot out, and I didn't like it. It was a broom style, but it was a bit weird looking, so I chopped it back. This is a Jap maple. It's got pretty good root spread on it. This is a, this is a coral bark maple. There's this nice red bark. It's just starting to shoot out. I had this one out the front of the house growing in a pot and thought the root system looked good enough to turn it into a bonsai. The wife wasn't too happy about it, but she'll get over it. I did actually get some seeds from this one last year and I'm growing them, so I plan to put one of those back in the pot because I'm not in the good books about that one. It's a forest, Hawthorn forest. There's a ficus of some sort. It's got reasonable roots, but I don't know, it gets burnt by the frost. Yeah, I'm not very good at looking after them, so I don't have many, if any, really. Just that one is a slant style olive. Another Crape Myrtle back there. Olive here that I did some work on. It's just starting to shoot out now. Might be able to see just some new shoots coming. Another olive here. I want to do a bit of a restyle on this one. I'm not really happy with the direction I took it in. Here's an olive here. As you can see, this naturally come out of a sheep paddock where it had been eaten and died back, and this is all natural, this deadwood on this one. So I'm pretty happy with that one. Another Chinese elm. As you can see, there's a lot of Chinese elms and a lot of olives. Another olive. Crape Myrtle again. The watering system I use is these mist sprinklers, and that runs off of a tap timer here that I keep under the esky, and I can adjust. It's a digital one, so I can adjust sort of the programs, put a lot of different programs on. It seems to work pretty well. I had one previously which lasted maybe a year, whereas this one I think it's been going a couple of years now and it seems alright. Okay. Crazy dogs, hey? There's an olive here. I'll just give you an overview of this bench. Yeah, an olive here. This is an olive stump here. This part's all dead, but then on here you might be able to see there's a bit of a live vein that runs up the side here and also around the back here. So that could work out pretty good. It'll never get much higher than about there. I'll just fill it in around the stump. So it sort of frames the stump in. This is a fire thorn or a pyracantha. Yeah, that's I think I've only been mucking around with that one for a year and a half. It's actually in a show-in competition on Oz Bonsai at the moment, that one. This one's a Quince Tree. Behind there you can probably see the bottle brush I did some work on. It's shooting back nicely now, and you can see where the flowers are going to be on some of these branches. So cutting it back when I didn't seem to affect it. It looks like it's going to flower up pretty well. This is another one for the show-in comp I got going on. This is a Juniper. Done a bit of shari work and some deadwood work. And the foliage is not overly strong on it, but hopefully, as you can see, it's starting to shoot now, so hopefully it'll put a lot more bulk on before the end of the comp. This is an olive. Oh, by the way, this mesh here is to keep the blackbirds out of the moss, otherwise they dig all the moss out of the pots. This one's a red gum. Collected this one. I used to run over it with a slasher every day, which is why it's long with a few shoots off of it. I used to run over it with a slasher. One day I thought I'd pull it out the ground. That's the red gum. Another olive. Here's my bigger olive there. Yeah, that seems to be going alright. Another olive here. This sort of very straight section in the trunk here. I'm going to try and fill it in a bit more and hide some of that stuff. Another olive I've carved out here. You might be able to see some of the carving work in here. It's all hollow. Another olive here. I want to try and make that look a bit like the African plain style trees, where the acacias are sort of only have the outside foliage and that's about it, and you can see all the branch structure. Another olive there. This old olive here has been struggling along for a few years now. I did some carving on it. I've had this one for probably 6 to 7 years and hasn't really ever grown much. I carved it out. It's only running, might be hard to show you. It's only running on this thin live vein here, which runs the top, and there's also another thin one around the back here. This one here's an olive that I carved out. It's got a really nice flare to the base on this one. I'm really happy with it. So that's grown alright. Still got to fill in the bottom branches more, but pretty happy. And this is the Almond Tree that you would have seen in a previous video of it flowering, I think. As you can see, it's got some almonds there. Some there, a few here. Come around the back. I haven't actually really looked properly around here for almonds, but come around the back of the tree. Yeah, as you can see, there's a fair few almonds on here. Pretty cool. Eating your own almonds off the bonsai tree. Pretty happy with that. Yeah, neighbours got the music cranking by the sounds of it. Yeah, that's the last sort of overview of the plants. There's a bit of a hothouse. Oh, there's something else I'll show you. I've got a hothouse here where I collected a wisteria from the nice neighbours, Cheryl and Dave. Collected it from their front yard. It was stuck underneath their foundations and dug it out, so hopefully it survives. But as you can see, there's a fair bit of dead wood and stuff in there, and it's quite hollow. Oh, dogs are jumping on me. Hey guys, how you going? Hey? Hey? They're silly dogs. Yeah, so that's actually got... where did I see it the other day? Here. Oops, out of there, dog. Before you knock the buds off. As you can see, it's just starting to shoot, so I collected it with almost no roots, so we'll see what happens. Now I just got me tomato plants growing there. Here's some lemon trees that I got off an air layer, and when I did the air layer I didn't really do it deep enough, so they had almost no roots, so I put it in a hothouse here, and so far they seem to be shooting alright. It was basically a big cutting. There's my hand here for reference. basically a big cutting. It was a, I think it was a kumquat tree actually. And just some hibiscus cuttings. Some mangoes which have died back in the winter. Grew from seed. Whether they survive or not, I don't know. I'll show you another mango which looks like it might survive. Got a bit of fungus in there in the hothouse, so I'll put it out here. Sprayed it with a bit of mancozeb, it seems not too bad. So yeah, that's it for the walk around my benches. That's about all I got. In time I'll get more and I'll be able to develop these better and hopefully get some good bonsai. No worries. Cheers for watching Aussie Bonsai Bloke, and I'll see you next time.